Welcome back, fellas. I want to introduce you to my series called the NBA Rundown, where I give you the 411 in the association. The NBA has gotten off to a hot start, and there has been plenty of surprises and disappointments in the early going. In this episode, I'll discuss the rookie scale extensions of the 2016 draft class, my surprises and disappointments, and an undrafted rookie making a name for himself. Nobody was more vocal about getting his money than Buddy Hield. He had some post-game comments in the preseason about he'll be willing to go somewhere else if the Kings didn't pay him the money he thought he deserved. But they came to an agreement, which was a 4-year extension worth $86 million with $20 million in incentives. The contract could be worth $106 million. Now it's time for him to earn his money. Nobody's been more of a disappointment so far than the Sacramento Kings. Buddy Hield started off with 2 bad games individually, but he did bounce back in the last 2. But the Kings are still winless so far this season. With more extensions coming in the next couple of years with De'Aaron Fox and Marvin Bagley, this could be a very expensive team. If they're making the playoffs and making progress, then it'll be worth it. But if they're not a playoff team, this could be terrible for the franchise. It needs to turn around real quick, or it won't be worth it to give max extensions to Fox or Bagley. That Harrison Barnes contract is looking worse every game. Domantas Sabonis reached a deal that was 4 years worth around $75 million, which will be around $18 million per year. There was a report that the Pacers entertained trading the big man before the deadline. This extension gives the team more time to see if the big man duo of him and Miles Turner could coexist long term. After drafting Goga Potassi in the first round, I believe there's still a chance that Turner or Sabonis could be traded at some point. DeJounte Murray got the smallest deal as he signed a 4-year deal worth $64 million. A torn ACL last year was the main reason for the low number, but it is a reasonable deal for Murray given his knee injury. Before DeJounte got hurt, he was already a stud on the defensive end. He is one of the youngest players in NBA history to make an all-defensive team. Becoming a more consistent offensive player is the next step for DeJounte. Giving Pascal Siakam a max extension was a no-brainer. It was a 4-year, $130 million contract. He'll be looked upon to carry the Toronto Raptors going forward after Kawhi Leonard left in free agency. Unless he suffers an injury, he is a virtual lock to be an all-star in the Eastern Conference. More minutes and shot attempts will lead to bigger numbers. He's already averaging 27 and 10 on the young season. Toronto will still be a top team in the East. They were 17 and 5 without Kawhi Leonard last year. This team is built to sustain success this season. The Celtics and Jaylen Brown reached an agreement of 4 years, $115 million contract extension, with $103 million guaranteed with no opt-outs. Brown will be getting paid like a perennial all-star. Now he has to prove he's worth every penny. In the playoffs 2 seasons ago, Brown proved to be a productive wing player with two-way potential. But along with other players last year on the Celtics, he had a disappointing year. He went from starting to coming off the bench. That led to an inconsistent year for Brown. But this is a new year and a new opportunity to show what kind of player he really is. Nobody really expected Bradley Beal to sign any kind of extension before the deadline. Of the star players that could be traded this season, he was the most likely. It was a surprise he signed an extension for 2 years worth $72 million. Beal has an opt-out, which means he could become a free agent as early as 2022. The Wizards maybe want to give him and John Wall another shot to see if they can coexist together and rise back up in the Eastern Conference. There is still a chance that Beal could be traded eventually, but with more years on his contract, the Wizards have a good opportunity to get the best value for their All-Star 2 guard if they ultimately decide to trade him. Just like with any NBA season, there are some surprises and some disappointments. But it is still early in the season. The Phoenix Suns are playing some of their best basketball since Steve Nash was on the team. The Suns didn't always compete at times, and often it looked like they didn't deserve to be on the same court as other teams. But with their new coach and Monty Williams, they actually look like a real NBA team. A team that has a more dynamic offense. I knew the addition of Ricky Rubio was going to make the Suns a better team. and that's been the case so far. The Suns didn't have a starting caliber point guard last season, and they ranked 17th in the league in assist percentage. This season, they are ranked at the top. Devin Booker seems to be less worried about scoring the most points he can, and more worried about playing within the offense and making the right play. They have been playing hard, and they have had a chance to win every game so far. They lost to the Nuggets in overtime and lost to the Jazz by 1 point. Two teams that are looked at as title contenders. Karl Anthony Towns did say don't sleep on the Timberwolves before the season started. The first week for the Timberwolves could not have gone any better, as they have begun the season 3-0, including 2 wins on the road. Karl Anthony Towns is playing like an MVP, and Andrew Wiggins is actually looking like an impact player. Down by 3 points in the fourth quarter against the Miami Heat, Wiggins scored 11 points in a row that led the Timberwolves to a victory as he finished with 25 points and 6 rebounds. His teammates showed him a lot of love after the game, and that could lead to Wiggins being more confident in his game and become a more consistent impact player. Who knows how long the Timberwolves will play at this level, but nobody had the Timberwolves in the mix of the playoff discussion before the season started. But anything is possible if they keep playing at this level. Taking a step back was not going to be a surprise for the Golden State Warriors. They lost a lot on the defensive end, and they added a lot of young and inexperienced players to the team this past offseason. In their first 2 games, it really looked like the Warriors could be worse than anybody could have imagined. Getting beat by the Clippers is one thing, but to lose to OKC the way they did is unacceptable. At one point, they were down as many as 42 points, and also in the first 2 games, they never got a lead. I expect the Warriors to bounce back to a certain extent, but the problems on defense is something that even Klay Thompson can't fix. With the Phoenix Suns playing at such a high level, it really is disappointing that their former first overall pick DeAndre Ayton will be suspended for 25 games because of violating the NBA anti-drug policy. He tested positive for a banned diuretic. At this moment, we don't know if the Suns will be appealing the suspension. The next game he's eligible to play will be on December 17th. Ayton is going to miss around 30% of the NBA season. There's no telling how good of a start the Phoenix Suns could have had if they had their big man in the lineup. But the Suns have the roster needed to keep their heads above water. Aaron Baines is a starting caliber big man. He might not be able to give you what Ayton can on offense, but defensively, he can have a huge impact. He will bring some real toughness to the team, one of the things that the team lacked last year. Who is Miami Heat rookie guard Kendrick Nunn? He played at the University of Oakland and is entering his second year out of college and went undrafted in 2018. He spent last season with the Santa Cruz Warriors of the G League. He signed with the Miami Heat on the last day of the 2018-19 regular season. This 6'2" guard has helped the Miami Heat get off to a 3-1 start, and that's without their star player Jimmy Butler, as he has missed 3 of the 4 games. No rookie has had a better start to the season than Kendrick Nunn. He's averaging around 22 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists, and is shooting a very high percentage from 3-point range. Tyler Hero isn't the only rookie on the Miami Heat that could be in the running for Rookie of the Year. Nunn plays with a confidence like he's been in the league for a long time. I don't expect his numbers to stay the same, but I also don't expect a huge drop-off because it looks like Eric Spoelstra is going to keep him in the starting lineup. If you want me to continue this series, please smash the like button and subscribe to my channel for future basketball content.